Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Hope you guys are having a wonderful, beautiful Friday, and hope you guys are enjoying yourselves and getting ready for another wonderful, blessed day. I'm Mark, and I'm gonna start off with I'm just gonna talk to you guys about my last time being in the hospital. I was at Kennedy Krieger for the last time. I was riding on a van. And then the nurse that brought us home, right? The nurse that brought us home said, make sure you guys prepare yourself because you're in for a nightmare. And that is exactly what we got as soon as we got home. We were in for a nightmare. The first nurse that ever took care of me as soon as I came home. You talk about a nightmare, he was a nightmare. Absolutely. Never forget when he came. The minute that he walked in the door, he just had this idea of he's the nurse in charge. He basically knows what he's doing and didn't really take what we knew from our time being in the hospital, didn't take our words into consideration. Basically, he came in and did whatever he wanted to do. He was one of those nurses that, he drank a lot. He was a heavy drinker. And the crazy part is that he wouldn't even keep his bottles. Like, he would literally come on the job drunk. So when we would go outside and things like that, my dad and mom, literally, when we had the bushes in our backyard, there was tons of alcohol bottles in those bushes. Didn't even have the decency to throw them in the trash. Threw them right behind the bushes. I'm thinking to myself, what is this guy on? The fact that he's drinking on the job, for one, is the biggest red flag. So, already, our nightmare has begun with this guy. When he was here, he was basically supposed to take care of me, and all that. Keep me, having be cared for, but he wasn't like that. He was different. And I tell you guys that I went unresponsive. He was the reason why. I remember he was in infatuated with my diaphragmatic pacer, right? To where he wanted to know about it, which is understandable. You definitely want to know about a machine that you've never seen before and things like that. But to think that you know everything that needs to be done and you know everything about the pacer, no. This guy didn't have not a single clue. So, when one day I was in the bed, I was in the bed and he literally tried to put me on the pacer. I told him, leave me on the vent. Leave me on the vent until my dad comes so he can show you how to put me on the pacer and all that stuff. So leave me on the vent, and that's it. He didn't listen. He didn't listen to me. So, and of course, I'm still very, very weak and fragile myself because I'm lit. This is literally months after I had my accident. I had my accident in March, and this is August. This is my first month being back home when this is happening. So he decides to not even listen to me, and then he messes around and he takes out the diaphragmatic pacer, right? So he takes out the diaphragmatic pacer and he accidentally disconnects it, right? But he still thinks that it's connected to me. So now I'm the pacer is disconnected. I'm not breathing on anything. I'm struggling to breathe. This guy goes in the other room, makes a phone call for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I'm not breathing on anything. I don't have the diaphragmatic pacer on. I'm not on the vent. I'm literally struggling. Turning blue almost. So it's not until my dad comes. He comes in, he sees it, he puts me on the vent, and he lets this nurse have it. Lets him have it. 'Cause that's one thing we don't tolerate is negligence. And that's exactly what he did. He decides to go in the other room, make a phone call, instead of taking care of a patient that needs 24/7, needs to be cared for 24/7. Because I'm on a diaphragmatic pacer, I'm literally have that life support. You take that away, and then what? That's it. So for 10 minutes, was literally turning blue. My dad is working at this time. So, yeah. So then after that, after he's done lecturing him and things like that, he pretty much basically says that I don't care what you have to say. He's telling this to my dad, by the way. He's saying, I don't care what you have to say. I'm not listening into what you have to say. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world can you come into somebody's house and be disrespectful? How can you be disrespectful like this? So I'm literally thinking to myself, like, yeah, this guy's a terror. And we didn't even know what to do because we didn't really know about nursing agencies and things like that. This was another agency that we were with, by the way. So this was another thing that we had to take into account, and we were thinking, ourselves, is this how it's gonna be? Or like, you know, because he was one of the first nurses that, I came home with. Like, he was one of the ones, and another one who was very, very hyper, drank coffee every single day. Every single day he drank like 3 gallons of coffee. Very, very hyper, very, very jittery. And he was yeah, he was a handful too. But back to back to this guy. He was literally, I was literally, um, it was another time, right, where he says, uh, cause I do a regimen every night. So I do a regimen every night, um, and because I do a regimen every single night, that's what helps me stay clear, you know. And fact of the matter is, he says that he'll be able to do it. He'll be able to do the regimen, you know, because my dad was doing it, and my dad let him do it for the first time, and then he said, "Are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure? Do you need any help or things like that?" He said, "Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm a nurse, ain't I?" And meanwhile, is he does the regimen to make me go to the bathroom. He doesn't like the smell. You're a nurse. You're a nurse, and you don't even like the smell of, you know, bowel or nothing like that. So he stops right in the middle, and he basically says, "I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't like the smell." Meanwhile, you told my dad that you would do it. You know, you said you knew how to do it. You said you would do it, and now here I am, all backed up. In the morning, I'm in complete pain. I'm in total pain. I'm in pain. My stomach is hurting. It's killing me and things like that. Didn't know what's going on. All I knew that I was just in pain. I was just in serious pain, right? So went to the hospital because that's what my family called the ambulance, because I was just in major pain. So they called the ambulance. The ambulance came. They picked me up, and I went to the hospital. Meanwhile, not only that, because I was in so much pain, they felt like things were backed up, and they were. I was backed up to the point where I was feeling so much discomfort and everything like that. Took a Duplex, um, and then after that, I was able I was able to get back to normal. I was no longer backed up, and then I was able to, you know, be able to go home that same day, because they just checked my situation. They checked my vitals and things like that. They just said that I was just backed up, and they just needed for me to just use the bathroom. So use the bathroom, go to the bathroom. That's it. I was better, but he never did the bowel program again. Never did the thing again, because he just didn't know how to do it. And if you say you know how to do something and don't even like the way that it smells, then why even attempt? Why even attempt to do it? But yeah, this guy was just a terror, man. And the fact of the matter is that there's just some things that we didn't even I didn't even tell him. Me being 16, and he was just he was in his probably late 40s, which probably means like now, being as though it was like 15 years ago, he's probably in like his mid 60s now. But back then, he was in like his late 40s, and he was yeah, he was hitting on my sister, which who and my sister was 15 at the time. Literally told her to stay in her room. Don't come out when this nurse is around. This nurse was literally infatuated with a 15-year-old girl. And I'm like, what is wrong? What's wrong with this dude? Like, why is he so sick in the head? Like, this is literally not proper. Like, this dude is literally a predator. He's a predator. Because he would always ask me, he'd say, hey, when is your sister coming home? Or, hey, is your sister home? Or, one time he got a pizza, right? Came with a pizza and said, I got this for me and your sister to share. I'm thinking to myself, like, what is this guy on? This guy's sick. This guy's sick, disgusting, man. But that's what we had to deal with. And the fact of the matter is that this guy was negligent. He was not listening. He came in thinking that, oh, I'm the nurse. I know what I'm doing. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all not in the medical profession and things like that. So y'all don't have no say so of what I do. This is basically what he's saying to us. So we're like, we've got clearance. My mom and dad got clearance from the nurses and doctors from the hospital, because they had to get checked off on everything that they were able to do. So they know exactly what to do to take care of me. Because for situations like that, nurses who come in, they're negligent. They say they know what they're doing, but they're not doing anything right. That's the reason why my mom and dad had to get signed off on everything. Working the cough assist, knowing how to do things that the nurses are able to do, so that if a nurse who's not familiar with home care like that, we'd be able to teach them what the hospital taught us. So that was the whole thing. But the fact of the matter is, this guy was a drunk. He was crazy. Yeah, definitely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. Cause a nightmare. But yeah, and then I one day he was I think he my dad told him not to move me, right? My dad told him not to move me. He said, leave him on the vent, leave him in the bed. He'll be here in 10 minutes. So he was coming in 10 minutes. He told that to him on the phone. He had the phone on speaker, so I was able to hear it. So I was able to hear what he was saying. So he literally said, hang on, don't move, don't touch him. I'll be there in 10 minutes. He didn't listen. He started getting me dressed, and literally he's getting me dressed and trying to put me in the chair. We didn't have a Hoyer lift at the time, so literally doing things manually. And this guy literally is trying to move me into the chair, and while he's moving me into the chair, I'm all over the place. Pacer gets disconnected again. And then immediately I'm in the chair, right? And I'm completely unresponsive. Unresponsive. My dad told him not to move me, but he decides to move me anyway. Unresponsive I was, from what my dad was telling me. Because, yeah, I was blacked out, didn't know where I was. My dad said that I was out, and yeah, when he came home, when he came home, oh my gosh, it was just by the grace of God, man, that because I was a little bit getting back to my normal self when he was there. I was when he was there, and yeah, the guy there was a guy working on my table, so I can be able to put my computer on the table and things like that. He was working on my table, and it's just by the grace of God that that guy was there, right? Because knowing my dad, he gave look, a look that was like, oh, almost sinister. Like it was like a look that this guy that he gave to this nurse, you know. And if I agree with him, because he said that he was going to he was going to do something very very bad to this nurse that probably would have ended up him going to prison or something like that. And I saw it in his eyes. I just looked at his eyes and I said, "Oh my gosh." And I just hope that that he wouldn't have done anything, because then I would be without my lovely dad, and I definitely did not want that, man. So, whew, so yeah, because, because that uh because that man was here fixing my table, saved that nurse's life, because it was gonna be ugly. I just saw it. I just saw it in my dad's eyes, and I never saw my dad look like that before. He was literally very, very mad. So he just continued to work on me. He basically was saying that you're no longer doing anything, no work or anything like that. I'm gonna be doing taking care of me from now on, taking care of Mark from now on. So basically, he was saying that he doesn't want to touch me and things like that. Prior to that, um, basically for that, we were there was a time. Well, when we were going outside, right? It was one time because I figured, because I'm young, I'm 17 at the time, and you know, definitely had had my fair share of shenanigans, but I uh I did not like this guy. So I said, so we go outside. We go outside one time, mind you. He opens the door. He opens the door, right? And we're going outside. We're going outside, and when he opens the opens the door, he decides to stand right in the doorway, not go out in the grass and over the door. He's just standing right there in the doorway. I'm like, you're gonna stand right in the middle of my wheelchair coming out? All right, bet. So I'm rolling out, and I accidentally roll over his foot. And I tell him, and he screams. He screams, right? So I tell him, I'm sorry, but I wasn't sorry. I wasn't sorry. Wasn't sorry at all. Ran right over his foot. He screamed. I went over to the um, area near the table. Outside, I relaxed. I looked at him. I looked at him holding his foot. Smiled a little bit, and yeah, and it was about 90 degrees outside. So I said, "Hey, why don't you get a chair and pull up next to me?" And he, mind you, he's bald headed. He's bald headed. So the sun is beaming off of his head, and it's 90 degrees, and he's sitting right beside me, and he's roasting, right next to me. Yep. So I lean my chair back, and I stay in the sun, and he's in the sun, looks over to me and says, "How how can you take this weather? How are you able to take this weather?" I didn't say anything to him. I just said, "I, I don't care. I'm actually doing this to see that you can't handle it, and I'm watching him losing his mind because of how hot it is." So yeah. So that was my little get back, because at the end of the day, I did not like this man. He was definitely incompetent. You come into work drunk, had bottles behind my bushes, and things like that. And then you come in, you don't even show our family respect at all, and you're literally hitting on my sister. You're in your late 40s. Late 40s. My sister's 15. Like, what's wrong with you? So that's why I did what I did. I didn't care that I rolled him over with the chair. I was actually glad that he was standing right in the doorway, because I wanted that to happen. I wanted to roll over his foot, and I did. I told him I'm sorry, but I wasn't sorry. But yeah, that was it's unfortunate, man, because you have a lot of people who are negligent like that, and I bet you there's a lot of people out there that's worse than him. That was 15 years ago. All you can hope is pray that he's a better man, a better person from what he was back then. But yeah, so, but on a positive note, I was able to have wonderful, great nurses in my life, that have stuck with me for the long run, and who's still with me to this day. And you know, any nurse that comes into our home, we treat them like family, especially the ones that's been with us for the longest time. We'll give them something to eat. We'll give them the clothes off our backs if we have to. Whatever they need, whatever there's something that's personal, we'll definitely understand, and we'll let them, handle their business and things like that. But we treat everyone that comes through that door like family. We'll always have, always will be. That's just the type of people we are. But yeah. So, and nurses that I've known for a while, I've basically saw their kids, see how their kids are all grown up now, and they're all basically young adults now, and some kids that nurses had the kids when they were young 15 years ago. So now they're all grown up doing their things. Um, we're all family like that. I consider their kids like my brothers and sisters. And things like that. Cause we've been here for a while, and I've basically watched their kids grow up. When they were walk through the door and come see me. They were all small, very very small, tiny. Now they're all grown up, doing their own thing, having families of their own, having good things happen in their lives. They're all adults now. Time is flying, man. Time is flying, and I'm seeing some wonderful, great things, and I love to see it. But yeah, you have nurses like that. You have very good nurses. I have a lot of stories about other nurses and things like that, but we gonna save that for another day. I just wanted to share with y'all that situation of the first nurse that I came home with. It wasn't a good one. Yeah, it wasn't a good one at all. So, but yep. But after that, he eventually uh, he basically quit because I feel like he kind of knew that he was gonna be in trouble if he came back here or something like that. So the agency uh, fired him and told him to never come to our house again. And that was the last time I saw him. Only bad thing is that he's on one of our home videos. So I now see him, and every time I see him on one of our precious memory videos, I just get mad, right? And I'm trying to think, can we cut this out? Can we cut this dude out? Because now he's pretty much in our one of our memory videos where my cousin was, turning 10 years old and being able to celebrate, and then seeing his mug in the video just makes me mad all over again about what that guy's done. Guy, I'm just giving y'all little snippets. There was a lot of other things that went down, but we're gonna save that for another time. So, in the meantime, yeah, I just know that I don't understand that there's a lot of good things happening in the world, and a lot of people are doing wonderful and amazing things in their life, but just don't let one bad egg spoil the rest. Don't let them spoil the bunch. Just keep on doing you. Keep on keeping on, man. You know, because that's what we gotta do. We're not gonna let people bring you down. Not let people take advantage and things like that. But you definitely gotta keep an open mind when it comes to things, and definitely have a mindset of what you need, what you want, and what's good for you, and what's not good for you, and what's not good for you. You gotta empty that. You gotta block it out of your mind. You gotta get that. Don't let it bring you down, and don't let it take over you, because that's the thing about bad things, is that it'll take over. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. So, well, for that being said, well, that's where we're gonna leave that off right there.